Hi, this is Misha. This is a quick little video on something I thought was interesting. I was selling off a good number of Japanese guns for a friend, and I came across this. What this is a Chinese reworked Arisaka. Now, of course, Japan had been fighting, had soldiers in China for a very long time. The war in the Pacific started in 1941, but really in China it kicked into high gear in 1931 and really even predated that to some extent. So Japanese troops had been there a long time. Obviously they had their Arisaka rifles with them too. First Type 38s and then later Type 99s. The Chinese captured a good number, and obviously when the Japanese surrendered, even more were left behind. So in the late 1940s, China had a lot of Arisakas amongst many other things. And when the communists took over in 1949, they had just a wide range of weapons, from Mausers, Arisakas, some American, really everything. Everything under the sun had been in China because they'd been fighting for so long. Well, in the 1950s, China adopted the 7.62 by 39 Soviet M43 cartridge, along with the SKS, which they called the Type 56 Carbine, and the AK, which they called the Type 56 Infantry Assault Rifle. Now the Chinese SKS, we have several videos on. It's a pretty standard gun. Early ones had blade bayonets, later ones had spikes like this. And China would produce millions upon millions of the SKS. And they would field them and use them, especially for second line units. After that, they began a program to convert some of their Arisakas over to fire the same round, 7.62 by 39. And there's a huge range of rifles and carbines that were done, all kinds. Some of them were done on a mass production factory level. Many were almost done in a field level or unit armor level. So the work varies and the configurations vary very widely. Typically what they would do, they would scrub the markings off the receiver, and they would install an SKS barrel. Now sometimes they would install the complete barrel like this one here has, with the front sight and the spike bayonet and everything. Other times they would reinstall the Arisaka front sight, as on this one here. They would also use different rear sights sometimes, mixing them up. Magazines, originally, as you know, this used a 5-round magazine. Some were not even modified. Some had a metal plate welded in the back little spacer, like this one here, and the follower modified. Some had a block welded in the front and the follower modified, and some basically had unmodified followers but still some kind of spacer installed. The bolt itself was left unchanged, including the extractor, because, you know, we had 7.7 Arisaka and we have 7.62 39, both rimless rounds, so it worked, I guess. Otherwise, there's very little, if any, consistency for these guns. This one is in a replacement Chinese stock. As you can tell, it does not have the splice in the back as on a Japanese, and it's more closely shaped, slim, like an SKS stock. It also has very clearly almost homemade style sling swivels. These are just essentially wires, especially this front one you can see wrapped around and then just held in with the basic screw. This back one is pretty simple too, just a piece of metal bent with a wire through it. And we have a very simple butt plate, very thin stamped steel. And they would do a large number of these conversions. Again, some of them like this, where they kind of kept the original Arisaka barrel profile, others where they have an SKS barrel profile, so on and so forth. I just thought we'd share what is a pretty unique and interesting rifle. These are built from just a wide range of original Japanese guns and parts. Has an AK style cleaning rod in it, but it takes an Arisaka style bayonet. Thought about shooting this for this video, but I'm not that brave yet. I think I'll have my gunsmith check out Headspace. I'm sure you guys can't really blame me for that, right? But they did issue these, typically to second line troops, or they would give them to people such as the Vietnamese. But they did field these. Interesting fact, the ones that had the SKS front sights left on, because of a radically different sight profile and radius on an SKS, when they would put these on an Arisaka, the sights would not at all line up. And they wouldn't hit anything. I mean, they weren't even close. They didn't even try. So this is one of those communist programs that wasn't really done to make these practical so much as, hey, someone said do it, so they did it. This has a late cast style trigger guard too. But just thought we'd share something a little different with you. If you have any questions or comments, please share them below. If you like the video, please click like. We do have a number of videos on Chinese and Japanese guns, so if that's what interests you, please check those out. They'll be on the playlist. As always, this is Misha. We hope you enjoy the video, and we'll catch you next time.